In this video, I'm going to build a nursery bookshelf out of 2x4s for less than $8. Before I get started though, here's a caveat about working with 2x4s. So 2x4s are not the best choice for building things like fine furniture grade for a number of different reasons. First of all, it's softwood, so it's not going to machine as nicely as oak or maple or poplar or something like that. Secondly, they all have rounded corners, which might not fit the look that you're going for. Third, they have some rough spots because they're not meant to be used in furniture. So the tools that they use to shape them are very rough. That means there's tear out on the surface, inconsistencies, and they also aren't straight no matter how much time you spend picking a perfect 2x4. There isn't a perfect 2x4. Cutting the 2x4s in half first will remove most of the warp and twist and make it easier to run through the table saw. So now that I've got all of these pieces cut to a more manageable length, I'm going to run each side through the table saw to get rid of the rounded over corners. I'll run this through one more time and get rid of the other side, and it'll be cut to its correct width, which is about 2 inches. So I've got 3 cuts to make per piece, a bevel cut, and then I have to cut out the rabbet, which will take 2 different cuts. I'm going to start with the bevel cut because I don't want to try to remove the bevel after I've already removed the rabbet, because the piece won't sit nice and stable. So now that I've got my bevel cut made, I can start cutting out the rabbet. I'm going to use the same template that I did to cut the bevel. I'm going to line the blade up with this and raise it to the proper height. So I've got all the cuts made, and I like the way it turned out looks-wise, but there's a couple problems that I didn't foresee when I was planning this out. That once I relieved some stress by making cuts into this wood, it started to bow again. So all that straightening that I did initially canceled out, and now I have a piece that has a nice rock to it. I didn't make it deep enough, so if we pretend that this square is the back wall that this is going to be mounted to, the book can't lean back far enough to keep it from wanting to tip over. The solution that I've come up with to fix both of those problems is using a 3/4 inch piece of plywood. And what I'll do is clamp this flat down to the work surface here, so that it gets rid of that rocking. And then I'll mount this to the back of it using glue and brad nails. Because I'm adding an extra 3/4 inches to the profile here, it'll give the book more room to lean up against the wall. So now we're talking this angle as opposed to about that angle. If I had to start this project over again, I probably would have just left more material on the back of the 2x4 instead of coming back and adding 3/4 inch plywood to the back. Leaving the 2x4s wider would have allowed the books to lean back further in the first place, but it wouldn't have fixed the bow in the 2x4. The warp in the bookshelf could probably be mostly eliminated if you did a careful job mounting it to the wall. The bookshelf spanned 3 studs in the wall. I drilled 3 countersunk holes 16 inches apart. My spacing was a little off center because I wanted them to be closer to the door. We're all set on the construction portion of this build, so now all that's left to do is sand over the sharp edges so they're smooth to the touch and remove tool marks and burrs left behind by the blade. To make installation as simple as possible, I made some spacers. I'd hold up one side with a spacer, then use a level to match the other side. The only thing left to do is load it up with some good reading material. Thanks for watching.